Hi there. For this week's video tip, I am checking in with you to make sure that you are not exposing your home address to the whole world through either your mailing list or your domain name. So stay tuned to find out. Hi, I'm Julie Waterhouse, and today my job is to make sure that you're not inadvertently sharing your home address with strangers. There's two places that you might be doing that. The first is through your mailing list. So if you have a mailing list through a provider like MailChimp or Aweber or anyone else, you're required by law to include your physical contact address at the bottom of every email you send out. Now by default, that address is going to be whatever you use to sign up for MailChimp or Aweber or whoever your service provider is. So if you used your home address, it could very well be appearing at the bottom of all your messages. So I recommend that you go and take a look. Now if it is appearing there, you're probably going to want to change it because you don't want just any random person who signs up for your list to be able to see your home address. So what can you do? If you have a physical brick and mortar business, then you can use that address for your emails, and that's public anyway, so that would be a safe thing to do. However, if you don't, like I don't, have a brick and mortar store or studio, then what I've done is set myself up with a post office box. Now, some companies are a little iffy about using an address with a P.O. box in it, and they won't let you do it. To get around that, you need to get your post office box from a company that will kind of disguise the address to make it look like a real address. So my post office box is with Packmail, and my address looks like Suite 218 and then the street address, right? If you ever tried to go into that suite, you'd find it was a very small space because it is actually just a post office box. So I know Packmail will give you an address that doesn't look like a post office box, and I believe that UPS will as well. You want to check with wherever you're signing up for your post office box that you can get an address that doesn't actually say P.O. Box. Then you can use that. You can use that as the default address for your mailing list provider, so all your correspondence goes there. If you want to still have your billing address to match your credit card, etc., be your home address, that's fine. You can go into each individual list that you manage and set the settings specifically for that list to override the default and use your post office box. So that'll be somewhere for MailChimp, it's in the list settings for the mandatory footer information. Okay? All right, that takes care of your mailing list. There's a second place where you might be exposing your home address to the world, and that is through your domain name. So when you register for your domain name, you have to give them contact information for yourself, for the administrator, and for the technical contact for that domain, and often it's all the same person. That information is actually public. There's a service that you can use called Whois. If you go to whois.com, and you can look up my domain, your domain, anybody's domain, and find out all the contact information, including addresses. So what are your options there? Well, same thing. If you have a physical business address, you can use that, or now, if you have a post office box, you can use your post office box address. If you don't have a mailing list, so you don't really care about having a P.O. box for that, and you don't want to get one just for this, then your other option is to pay for domain privacy. So the company who's hosting your domain, someone like GoDaddy or Namecheap or Bluehost or HostGator, or any of those, wherever your domain is hosted, they will also sell you a service called domain privacy. And what that does is when somebody looks you up through whois.com, instead of seeing your address, they'll see some sort of anonymous address from your domain privacy service. Okay? So either you're going to pay for a post office box or you're going to pay for domain privacy. For me, I use the post office box because I can kind of get double duty, and I use it for all the things related to my business. Let me just take you quickly into my browser to look at whois.com to see what other people can see. All right, so here we are in my browser at whois.com, whois.com. And if you check right in the top right hand corner, there's a little entry box where you can enter your domain name, right? You can put any domain name in here to test. So test your own. I'm going to put in a domain name that I own and manage, and then I'm going to click the green Who Is button. And if you scroll down a bit, you'll be able to see that there's 3 addresses listed: for registrant, for admin, and for technical contact. And they're all listed as me, and they have my business phone number. And then this address here with Suite 218 is actually not my home address. This is my post office box that I use for my business, right? So that's what I suggest that you do, or get domain privacy, in which case a company name like Domain Privacy, it'll say something like that, will appear here instead of any of your own personal information. Okay, that's it for this week's tip. If you found it useful, please, I would so appreciate it if you would share it with your friends and colleagues. And come on over to juliewaterhouse.com and get yourself signed up for my mailing list, where you'll be the first to hear about new tips and things that I only share with my subscribers. And there's one other way to get quickly onto my list if you're watching this on YouTube. You can text WordPress to 1-855-969-5300 and get yourself on the list that way. That's all for today. I'll see you next time.